Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance and we're going to be doing another armor guide. So it's fun to be back to doing that more frequently. And the one we're doing today is I'm going to be taking my first crack at some of the stuff that we've seen in the trailer and reveal footage from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, bear in mind, there are some noticeable differences between the armor style in the first game and the second game, and the more I look back at the footage, the more I notice a bunch of other small details that I missed on my first time through. So, it won't look exactly like it, but that being said, clearly the armor system is similar because I was able to recreate this one at least fairly accurately, and I'll point out where we've got some differences. So basically the goal is just using items in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 to try and imitate these suits of armor that we are seeing in the trailer or reveal footage for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And like I said, the one that we're taking a look at today is the first one we see Henry wearing in the reveal footage, and presumably this is what you're going to start the game in for Kingdom Come 2, because it looks like it's the stuff that Henry is wearing while he's still in that party with Hans Kapan, right where we leave off with Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. So when we leave Rete to head towards Trotsky Castle, this is the suit of armor that Henry's wearing. So let's just take a look at it. Starting off with weapons, I don't see a weapon on him in any of the screenshots I can find of him wearing this suit of armor. But that being said, in the rest of the footage, you pretty much see him using a longsword, and that does appear to be Henry's weapon of choice just in general in Kingdom Come, you know, given the fact that the whole story is about the sword that you forged with your father, all that sort of stuff. So really any longsword I'm sure would be equally fine for this. I decided to go with Longinus' sword for a couple of reasons, one of which being it's just one of my favorite swords in the game. I really like the way it looks, and I obviously really enjoy the stats. It's one of the best swords in the game stat-wise, but outside of that, it just has a very standard appearance that looks well maintained and somewhat fancy, but nothing gaudy or audacious, so it's not all gold plated with a bunch of gems all over it. It looks like a dang good sword, and I really like the style of it. So I went with Longinus' sword, but that's all just a long way of saying you could really do any longsword you want, but I do think the right weapon for the suit of armor is a longsword. Moving on to our first layer of armor, that being the clothing layer, we have the decorated arming doublet, and I went with the teal variant of this. I did that because in the screenshots I have of this suit of armor from the trailer, you can see he's wearing something green underneath. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's some sort of gambeson, and this is the only one I could find in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 that was sort of green-ish. So that's why I went with this variant of the decorated arming doublet, and of course it doesn't hurt that it also has 12 for defense. Then of course the green nobleman's hose are the pants I decided to go with. You don't see his pants, or at least I'm pretty sure you don't because he's got chausses on, but that being said, Henry typically wears green pants. That seems to be the style he enjoys, or at least often, given how many armor guides I've done for him. I've associated green with him quite a bit. So that's why I went with the green nobleman's hose. The rest of these items are just to bring up those stats, so to bring up charisma mostly, and I guess a little bit of prestige through their value. So we also have the necklace, the golden spurs, and a gold ring. So all of those are obviously optional, but they do give you extra charisma. So that's our first layer. Then for our second level, our layer I should say, this is where we start running into some of the complications with matching the armor style from this game to that game, and now I'll show you even more once we get the armor on. But for the items, I'll just start there. We have the long noble hauberk, the noble's mail collar, and the padded chausses on his legs. Now, I made these decisions based on one of the screenshots I have where you can actually see his legs in the suit of armor. He's clearly not wearing mail on his legs, so, but it looked like they were well padded, so I figured the padded chausses was the obvious way to go. Plus, it gives you some extra armor, which is always good. I used the variant that doesn't add any noise and adds less visibility and conspicuousness, so either one would work, but that's the one I went with. Then I did the long noble hauberk because A, stat-wise, it's the best one in the game, but B, you can see that he has full sleeve coverage in the screenshots for mail, so you can see in the ones where you can see parts of his arm that the mail clearly goes all the way down his arm. The only problem I have is that it doesn't go down this far in his waist. Like I said, the shot where he's sitting on his horse, which I probably will end up using for this video's thumbnail, you can see some sort of a green gambeson sticking out underneath, so it's not covered all the way with mail. So that's one of the things that I'm guessing they've made improvements to the variety of in KCD2 is the mail. I know a lot of people did not like how the mail worked, especially the coifs, but in particular the fact that you would have mail going all the way down to below your crotch, no matter the style. They pretty much all go that long. Even if you get a short one and it'll have shorter sleeves, it still goes down that far, which, to be fair, yes, obviously you're getting optimal coverage that way, but you're also adding a lot of extra weight, and considering oftentimes you're wearing full plate armor, it might be a little excessive, I think most would find. But that being said, I think this one matches well enough, and obviously the stats are great. Then he is not wearing a helmet or a mail coif or even a padded coif in any of these pictures that I got while he was wearing the suit of armor, so I went with the noble's mail collar. And I think it matches style-wise. That being said, which you're going to see when we get the armor onto this outfit, they clearly did something to update the style of how you can wear armor in the second game, and I think it's a good change. So that's our second level. Let's move on to our third layer, which is the plate armor. And so here you can see the main difference in this armor is that the coif, or in this case the collar, but same thing, in the second game, clearly this either can optionally be worn over the top of the rest of your armor, or that's the default, which is a good change because that's more historically accurate. Typically, when you'd have the a mail coif, or you'd be using something like this, it would typically be because you don't have a plate gorget, which would cover your neck and kind of connect all the way up to your helmet practically. So if you were going to be wearing a style that did not have that gorget, and you were going to be using a mail coif, or coif as I've been saying in this video, then oftentimes it would be draped over the top just for an extra level of protection, because that way there's not gaps right here. So you can see, like in this brigandine that we're wearing, you can see these leather straps up top. A hard enough strike with some sort of a sword or axe, even if it didn't break your collarbone, debilitate you, and cut into you, could easily cut through those straps. So a great way to protect them would be to have the rest of your armor on top of them. And so that's why if you're going to be wearing a mail gorget or a mail coif in place of a gorget, it makes sense for it to be above those straps. And so that's just one realism reason why I like the fact that it looks like that's the normal way that you wear them in the second game. But that's the main visible difference between that suit of armor and this one. Otherwise, we've matched it pretty well. Like I said, our mail goes down a little bit too low because in the shots you can see his gambeson. But other than that, we were able to match it pretty spot on. So the items that I used for this are the dyed Milanese brigandine, and I used the yellow variant because obviously he's wearing a yellow variant in there. Then I went with the Lords of Lipa pauldrons, and now these ones aren't perfect because the ones that he wears have slightly more of a reddish tint on the arms, but other than that, style-wise and the exact lay of the armor, these look almost identical. So I find out of all the pauldrons available in the game, the Lords of Lipa pauldrons are the best for this one. Then for our chausses, I did the Nuremberg plate chausses. The Meissen ones are the exact same style. These ones just have better stats, so it made sense to me to go with them. But clearly in the shot that I have of him sitting down, you can see that he is wearing this style of plate chausses, so I think these match fairly well. And then for the gloves, we have the riveted gloves. Again, these don't match perfectly because the ones he's wearing in the trailer, this upper cuff part is actually greenish, but this is the only style we have in the game of gauntlets that comes anywhere close to it, so I think they make the best approximation of the gloves that he's wearing in the trailer. And that's it. That's the full suit of armor. Like I said, he doesn't have any head protection, so the stats suffer a little bit there. He's not wearing an overgarment, so he doesn't have a outer coat, a Waffenrock, or a hood or anything like that on for this suit of armor. He just has the coif over his armor. With that being said, pretty good suit of armor still, even considering the fact that we are not fully equipped. Stats on this one, we have a total weight of 54.4 pounds, so it's not all that heavy. It's actually not bad there. We have a total value of 12,934.8 groschen, with everything including the sword. Pretty good. That's nowhere near as ostentatious as you possibly could get, but it does speak to a relatively high quality suit of armor that would be out of reach for the vast majority of men-at-arms in, society at this time. So value-wise, I think it's a good place for him to be starting the second game. And our AAR, or average armor rating, and now there's no way of knowing whether the stats are going to be even remotely comparable in the second game, but in this game our average armor rating is 77.5 for this. So honestly, pretty good. That is not a bad AAR considering we don't have any head armor. If you were to put the Noble's Mail coif on and a padded coif and then a good helmet, especially a closed face helmet, or maybe something like the bell-shaped kettle hat or something like that, that would turn this into easily, we'd be breaking the 80-90 average, which is of course excellent armor. With that being said, still pretty dang good. Like I said, the main point of this video was to try and get it to look as close as we could, and I think we did a pretty dang good job. I think it looks quite nice, and we've matched what we saw in the trailer quite well. So if you're just so eager for the second game and you really want to get into it, but obviously you can't because it's not out yet, so you're just playing the first one, at least you can somewhat roleplay as Henry from the second one by wearing the appropriate armor set. Not to mention, I think that, now I did this a long time ago, but I believe I did a video where I went through and only used quest reward armor for Henry's end game set, so I didn't loot anything, I didn't buy anything, I didn't pick anything up from treasure chests, I just wore stuff that he was given through main missions, and that was also a very fun way to play the game because it was slightly more challenging. but I think I ended up with a suit that was something like this when I did that. So immersion-wise, it makes a lot of sense. Other stats to look at over here, visibility and conspicuousness are both 69, which is of course excellent. That's very nice. And it's also not ridiculously high considering you're wearing a full suit of plate armor. Noise, of course, is 100 because we're clanking around in plate and mail, so there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Our charisma is 16, so we could boost that up various different ways. Obviously, just going to the bathhouse would boost it up a little bit for us here because of perks and stuff. Honestly, solid suit of armor. I think it looks good, and most importantly, I think we've done a great job of matching it to that suit of armor from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's trailer. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful. I've really been loving playing Kingdom Come Deliverance again. I'm so glad that they announced the second game because it's given me such a good excuse to dedicate a lot of my time to playing this game, which I hadn't been for so long since, you know, obviously I played the crap out of it back in the day and made hundreds of videos on my channel for it. So I felt like I needed to move on just for me and for the channel. But now that I can, it's great to have an excuse to be playing it again because it remains to this day one of the best games ever made. So, yeah, that's all for today. If you've got any requests, I've already been taking some requests down to start making some more Kingdom Come videos. I've got some in the works already from those, but if you've got any more requests, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. But in any case, this has been the longest outro ever. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.